At this point, we face another hard question. As soon as Satan was kicked out of heaven, why didn't God just destroy him on the spot? Why even take the risk that he would win a little corner of the universe in which to conduct his experiment? When I was a young lady of about 12, my dad ran his own auto shop. It was located on a huge property just made for kids who love to explore, like us. Our back was a hill leading down to the railroad tracks. Trains almost never used it, so it was just one more part of our playground. All four of us spent many happy hours playing or bickering while Dad worked on cars. My sister Tina, the youngest, was totally fascinated by the big dumpster on the side of the shop. Mom and Dad told her again and again to stay away from it, but always she found herself drawn back. I almost thought somebody had thrown a magnet into it because of the attraction. No matter what they did, as soon as they weren't looking, there she was, back at the dumpster. I was the oldest. That means I felt a personal responsibility for making sure everyone did just what they were supposed to, followed all the rules, and generally succeeded in life. It also meant that I was very bossy. And if my siblings didn't obey what I told them to do, I usually found a way to make them do it anyway, even if it meant making up a story. Now when I make up stories, it's called writing a book, trying to earn a living, being creative. Back then, it was just lying. Since Tina kept disobeying about the dumpster, I felt it was up to me to make sure she stayed safe. So I told her there was a monster in it. A monster in the dumpster. Worse still, I told her that it had already eaten her big brother that she never even knew about, till now. What was his name? She asked suspiciously. Timmy, I invented on the spot, figuring that sounded the most like Tina, so it would seem more ominous. He kept going around the dumpster when Mom and Dad said not to, so the monster ate him. Mom and Dad had you to replace him. With a big sister like me, it's a wonder Tina didn't need therapy the rest of her life. Well, I accomplished my goal. She was genuinely frightened and stayed away from the dumpster. I was pleased that I had accomplished my goal. Tina was safe. For just a moment, let's pretend I wasn't a rotten big sister. Let's suppose there really was a monster in the dumpster. Would scaring be enough to keep her away? Yes, for a while. But sooner or later she would get curious again, or resentful. Or one of her friends that had also heard about the monster would begin to ask questions again. Sooner or later, somebody would open the dumpster. That was the problem God faced. All the other angels loved their former leader. Even the ones who had chosen God still didn't have enough information to know how bad sin really is. They had chosen God, but without seeing the depths of sin, they would also have felt a great deal of sympathy for their dear friend. Even with faith, they still had many questions. Ironically enough, even Lucifer couldn't have known the full extent of sin. Only God knows the future, so even the evil angels would not have known how bad it would get. Destroy Lucifer, and the dumpster would still be sitting there, waiting for someone else to open it. The only way to get rid of sin forever and always was to see it through to the bitter end. Ultimately, it would cost God the very best heaven had to offer, the suffering and death of Jesus Christ. Because God wasn't content to just let sin burn itself out, leaving a giant scorched spot on the universe. He was willing to do anything it took to make a way of escape. He'll never force anyone to take it. That's not his style. Jesus died so that you, me, your pastor, the drug dealer down the street, the president, the convict serving life without parole, the homeless person on the street corner, so that every single one of us could have a chance to say yes or even no to him. Unlike the angels back then, we have a whole bunch of evidence. We can see how God's system works, and we can see concrete examples of how Satan's ideas of government play out in this world. Unlike political elections, where if you make a mistake, you have to wait 4 years to vote for someone else, you can change your mind at any time. Have you been voting for the wrong government to rule your life? Are you ready for a change? You can cast a different vote right now, today. Joshua challenged the children of Israel, "Choose this day whom you will serve." It's a choice we make every day. There's no middle ground, no third option. There's only good and evil. One or the other, it's our choice. 1 Thessalonians 5:9, "For God has not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ.